This episode is brought to you by Sable International, building futures beyond borders.
Welcome to the Relocated South African podcast. Today I'm joined by Justin Levitt, an entrepreneur and SEO specialist living in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you very much, Jan. Happy to be here and looking forward to chatting.
Happy to have you, and it's lucky to have another guest from Amsterdam.
Yeah,
so,
indeed.
Justin, where did you grow up, study, and how did you get to live in Amsterdam?
Yeah, long story. I'm sure you get that all the time. But no, I was born and lived until I was 7 in a town called Welkom.
Oh no, van die
Yeah.
Goldvelden.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, the Goldfields. Yeah.
Is it true that it's the only town that, I don't know if by now it has robots, but in the old days it never had a traffic light?
Yeah, I think a few years after we left in, when did we leave? 99, 2000, around then, the first robot was built. So yeah, it's not a rumor, it's true. It's the town of circles. And I guess my dad always used to say in the car, because we moved to Cape Town afterwards, and then he would say, no one knows how to use a bloody circle in this country. Only the people from Welkom know how. So
that's true. And I still think, well, I think the Portuguese are the same. They're not so lekker around the traffic.
Yeah. Well, now we got to do it on the other side of the road, which is a whole another situation. But then basically lived the rest of my time in Cape Town. I went to school in Cape Town, went to university in Cape Town.
Before we get started, I want to mention Apostel. When I moved to Portugal, I had no idea how much paperwork was involved. Police clearances, apostille certificates, unabridged documents. It can feel overwhelming. Apostille takes care of it all for you. They apply, follow up, and courier everything directly to your door, whether you are still in South Africa or already settled abroad. Click the link in the description below and let Apostille take it from there.
Yeah, I was in a bunch of bands, musical things was most of my life then. And then in around 2019, with my ex-girlfriend at the time, she got a job offer to move to the Netherlands. And I was working for myself at the time, so I thought, yeah, why not? I mean, I was doing my work in SEO, and Netherlands is known for being, one of the, I guess, I don't know what you call it really, but one of the most involved countries when it comes to SEO and really tech driven as well. So I thought, yeah, got nothing to lose. And then moved over, and literally 2 weeks after I arrived, COVID happened. So
Okay.
Super unlucky timing, but then didn't actually go from or straight to Amsterdam. Went to lived in a few different cities actually. So in Utrecht, and then went all the way up north of the country to the area called Friesland, and then I moved down to Rotterdam, and then eventually Amsterdam. So I had a couple different jobs here, and I guess that was part of the struggle and part of my journey here as well. Is finding sponsorship for work, and trying to solidify myself in this country. So it was a bit of a battle, but now 6 years down the line, I'm here living in Amsterdam for the last 3 years, I think, and pretty happy. But been a journey.
Well, are we looking forward to getting into that? Couple of questions. You just glossed over the band story. I'm very interested in that. You're a guitarist, is that right?
Yeah, correct. I'm a guitarist, electric primarily, but also acoustic as well. I guess, music was just a big part of my life when I was growing up. And I think I had to convince my parents to buy me my first guitar because they weren't really sure if I had the musical ability. And then I think after convincing them, and on the first day, they realized they made the right decision, because I think I picked it up quite naturally. But just sort of progressed. During high school, I met some buddies down the road who were jamming. He had literally a Wendy house, one of those old wooden kind of garden sheds. and we just took all the shit out of there and put our band equipment in, and that became our little sort of HQ for jamming when we were teens. And then from there, it just spiraled. So I finished school, went to Varsity College in Cape Town, and then at that time, I got in touch with a solo artist. She's gone by a few names now, but at the time she was called Taylor. Now she's called Anna Wolf, I think. She lives in London now. But so I joined her, started playing acoustic guitar with her. She got signed to quite a big label in South Africa. And then it just skyrocketed from there, really. I got to travel the whole of South Africa regularly, playing, all the different festivals, Oppie and Rocking the Daisies, all of those things. Yeah, it was just an incredible time. And then I wanted, I was playing acoustic guitar in a sort of duo setup, and I always had the dream of being in a, kind of like a rock band, playing electric guitar and stuff. So I found a bunch of guys in Cape Town, of course. And that band was called Red Tape Riot. So some people might know it, some people might not. I mean, certainly weren't at the level of guys like the Parlotones and Prime Circle and whatnot. But also traveled a lot with them, toured. We even went to the UK for a bit. And I think even to this day, they still play one of our songs on, I think, Algoa FM. Some people still record snippets and then send it through to me, which is quite heartwarming to hear that. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
And was it ever a possibility of making a career out of music?
I mean, it would have been a very tough tough struggle. There's a very small percentage, I think, of guys that really do make a living out of it. And one thing I'm really glad about is my parents kind of drilled it in my head when they saw me going in the direction of music. They said, and it never leaves my head, but my dad always said, study first, and then I don't care what you do with your life. And I took his advice, and that was it, really. So I don't think it would have been possible to make a full-time career out of it. I think if I had tried, I would have really I don't know. I think it would have got me in a bad place, because it's just a real uphill struggle. And I think the type of music that I play and like to play as well is also, there's a very small percentage of South Africans really that come to shows and come to support. So in that regard, it wasn't really an option for me.
It's quite interesting. I have this theory about it, having lived in France a little bit, and love French music. I listen to a lot of French music. Do you think the reason in South Africa why it's such an uphill struggle for musicians is because of the diversity, so many languages, cultures, and so on? Whereas in France, everybody speaks French. There's 68 million people. So a guy, Claudio Capio, who's not a well-known artist in the rest of the world, is huge in France. And they make a lot of money and they make a career out of it. But it always had the impression that South Africa lacked that just because of the diversity and
I think so.
Different groups.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's probably a lot of factors at play. I think, when you think about the Afrikaans sort of music genre, I guess, that is very specific, but it's, catering to a certain market. And then you have, sort of, what's it called now? Amapiano or whatever it's called, which is a bit more, has more African roots, if you want to call it that. So it's, I think if you want to make English sort of rock music, you've really narrowed it down kind of to a small percentage of people. But I think further than that, my experience was, it was really the guys that got the platform to be able to do it. So if you were on 5FM and you were played regularly on rotation or KFM for that matter, or Highveld, I think those, you have a song that gets pushed there, and that kind of can really, I guess, skyrocket you into a different, just opens you up to a whole lot of things. And I think we kind of missed that, when that era sort of started to die out, after, let's say around, I don't know, maybe like 2013, 14, around then. There was also that channel on DSTV, which was MK, the music channel. And that also kind of gave guys a lot of that platform. And I think without that, it becomes harder. And it was kind of early days of social media as well, which we didn't really tap into. So,
I'm with you. And Justin, do you still play?
Yeah, every day. I mean, I've got my my guitar that sits next to me at my desk, and
awesome.
Yeah,
it's therapeutic.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I will never stop playing. It's part of me and part of my life. So I have been reluctant, let's say, to kind of join anything here, because part of me doesn't. Maybe it's coming from a snobbish place, but part of me doesn't want to start from the bottom again and work my way up. But when I go to concerts and stuff, I get that feeling and that bug that I kind of miss it. Yeah.
My son's exactly the same in America. He had a school band. They live in Dallas now, but his fortunate thing is his son, who's 14, plays the violin in the school orchestra, and now he started playing guitar, and he's gone completely bonkers. So two of them play together. But I mean, it's great. I wish I can't even play radio. So yeah.
Well, it's all digital nowadays. So,
no, exactly.
I think you should be good.
Justin, just for the listeners, you talked about SEO. I think it means search engine optimization. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Indeed, yeah.
So you basically, in that field, you help people to make their web pages more visible, or their YouTubes or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So I started out helping sort of small businesses in South Africa. And it kind of actually tied into the music thing, because while I was playing music in a band and we were in the UK for a bit, I was thinking, I need to make some, extra money on the side. I can't just rely on this. So it got me into the world of SEO. And I've always been the kind of person who's been behind a laptop and always have a computer in front of me. So it just kind of came naturally to me. And never had the thought that I would ever work for a company to, like, be employed by a company. I always wanted to freelance and kind of do my own thing, which is maybe the free-spirited musician is still in me. But that kind of thing is was a bit challenging to kind of accept while I was here in the Netherlands, to work for myself. At some point, if I wanted to stay here, I needed to be sponsored by a company, and that came with its a whole box of its own challenges, let's say.
Mm. Well, let's just talk about your journey in getting to Amsterdam. You said it was tough initially. I mean, maybe the question is, what were you expecting before you left, and did it meet your expectations when you in the first period?
Great question. To be honest, if I take it back a little bit, I never thought that I was ever going to emigrate. I was always the kind of person who saw other people emigrate and thought, why would I know we have our problems in South Africa, but why would you do this? It was never something I thought about. And then I went to the UK with my band, and that was the first time I had the experience of actually living for a while somewhere else other than South Africa, and that kind of set the scene, let's say, to open my eyes to potentially doing that. And then I came back, and like I mentioned, my partner at the time got a job, and really I had no expectations at that point. I thought, I've got nothing to lose at this point. I can take everything with me, and let's go. So I had very little expectations, and I guess the expectations I did have were, the Netherlands is just going to be a Dutch version of the UK, which is not the case, not the case at all. So I guess that was the expectation that I had about the country. I think also something else, which maybe some of your guests have potentially said before, but I think I had some expectations about, everything's going to be better than back in South Africa. You're going to have better food, better service, and to some extent that is the case. But in other areas, it's not. Like the service, if you go to restaurants here, it's shocking compared to compared to what you get in SA. So, of course, it's not. When it comes to governmental things, they're on another level here. It's and then in South Africa we have to deal with home affairs and all of that kind of stuff. But
there it's the gemeente.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely. Yeah, the gemeente. Yeah,
we spent 3 weeks there when we first went over in October 2020. So I learned all about the gemeente, but then we went to France. But yeah,
France, yeah.
I said I don't want to go to church. No, it's a municipality.
Yeah. I know. It's that's also something is that my level of Afrikaans as well at school. I went to an English school and come from an English family and thought, what am I going to need Afrikaans for? And now I regret that not paying so much attention. But that was also something is that the Afrikaans doesn't get you very far here either. It's you think it will, but some words mean very different things than what we used to. So
yeah, we spent very little time there, but my impression was that the Dutch weren't really open to talking to you if you responded in kind of Afrikaans.
No, not at all. Even if I try to speak Dutch, which is also very, very limited, but if they hear just the slightest bit of an accent, they will switch to English immediately, thinking that they're doing you a favor and being kind. But then, so they also don't really give you that much of an opportunity to learn the language because their level of English is so high. But interestingly, when you said that now, something that did shock me was, we learn a lot in South Africa about the Dutch coming to the country and Jan van Riebeeck, and from what I understand, that our beloved ANC still talks about it to this day.
He caused it all.
yeah, he's the guy. But they don't really know that much about it. If I say I'm from South Africa, they say, "Oh, then you must understand some Dutch," and that's kind of about as far as it really goes, which is a bit shocking to me, to be fair. But
no, absolutely. And you said you arrived just before COVID.
yeah.
When exactly? Which month? Because COVID was about March.
March, yeah. So I arrived on the 28th of February, 2020. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
So I think it was 2 weeks, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks, and then it was lockdown. And we were living in really a small town outside of Utrecht. So it was in the middle of nowhere. So I think wasn't the greatest start to moving overseas. You don't have the comforts of a big city, even though everything was shut down. And coming from Cape Town, that was a bit of a shock to the system, I suppose. But again, I didn't really have that many expectations. So,
obviously, we know what happened. That COVID in South Africa wasn't fun because, they just didn't the stupid things they did. But anyway, be that as it is. But in terms of arriving with a partner, getting straight into a lockdown, that must have put huge strain on a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's it's hard to say that was the specific cause or catalyst to eventually splitting up, but to say it didn't have any impact would be what's the word? It I guess just incorrect, really. I mean, it definitely had a because now you're every day, 24/7 with this person, and you're in a new country as well, and you have no family, you have no friends. So it's really, this person becomes your comfort, but then they also become someone that every person needs alone time. Every person needs a break of some kind. So definitely did put some strain.
Wow. Yeah, I can imagine that must have been you're finding your feet and even just thinking about the red tape, getting stuff done with the government, with lockdowns. Was it possible to get around and do stuff like that, or not really?
Yeah, I must say it was. I mean, the level of organization that they have here within the government and stuff is just, it's really unbelievable, to be honest. You know, let's say you go to Home Affairs and you forget a document. Well, you're absolutely screwed. You have to then take another day off at work, get that document, come back to Home Affairs, wait in the line again and do the whole thing. But here, you know, everything is done online. You book the appointment, you go, you don't have a document, this is our email address, send it, you know, when you get it, send it to me. So didn't really have that much of a hard time, you know, I guess, yeah, bureaucracy wise, let's say. But yeah, it was actually quite a long time ago. Now that I'm trying to sort of get the memories back, even though it doesn't feel that long.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, getting settled during that time, I think it's just so damn difficult when you arrive, as you say, you couldn't. Were you able to work on the stuff that you were busy with?
Yeah. Luckily, I was able to work, and both me and my partner at the time were both able to work. I mean, she obviously moved to the country for a job, but then both of our jobs were such that we could work from anywhere, really. So I was able to work, but you know, that was another challenge at that point, is that what I was earning was really decent for a life in Cape Town, but it wasn't. You know, then you move to the euros, and suddenly it becomes a lot less. So I think that was also another kind of catalyst to get me to get employed by a company.
By a
Actually,
company,
yeah.
And what did you say? How long did it take you to kind of start feeling settled?
That's a great question, Jan, because I've lived in quite a few cities in the Netherlands. I think I never really had time to feel settled. It was, you know, moving to one area, then moving all the way up north, and then I split with my partner in 2022. Then it was either, you know, go back to South Africa or find someone who will sponsor me and employ me here in the Netherlands. So then I had that, moved all the way down to Rotterdam, had a 1-year contract. And that was sort of where the tough part of this journey started, because, you know, then my existence in the Netherlands is tied to a company sponsoring me. And so with a 1-year contract, you know, you kind of feel like, well, is it going to be renewed? Is it not? And then the company went bankrupt in that time. So then I had to rush and find another company who was able to hire me. And then I never really had the feeling of settling down until, I would say, maybe last year, because then I got my permanent residency, and I don't need to be sponsored anymore, et cetera, et cetera. So I think now I'm starting to sort of lay the foundation for a life here. But it was quite an unsettled 5 years. It's really living with uncertainty like that is not fun.
I was going to say, what would you say was the biggest sacrifice? Is it that uncertainty? Is it missing family?
I mean, it's the uncertainty for sure. I mean, you know, I discovered quite quickly after moving here, you know, despite all of the struggles, that I wanted to live here indefinitely. So I think that became my main focus: is, okay, what do I need to do to stay here? And I think anything that kind of rattled that or rocked that ship would really stress me out. So, you know, just having that uncertainty and having my existence in a place being at the hands of someone else, you know, that lack of control over my own destiny is, I think that was really one of the toughest things.
Yeah, I can just imagine. And I guess until that uncertainty is kind of settled, you can't really plan. You can't plan for, you know, I'm going to do this or that stupid thing, like can't buy a house because I don't know
absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's
One of my friends still laughs at me now because um, he saw that I didn't have a couch in my apartment for quite a while. You know, I thought, well, a couch is quite expensive. I don't know if I'm going to have my contract renewed. So, I'll just live with the bare minimum until I really know. I mean, I got one shortly after that, but, just kind of that mindset of, am I staying here? Am I not? You can't really, like you said, you can't plan long term, and it's tough not to be able to sort of at least have a rough idea of where you're gonna go.
I mean, knowing what you know 6 years down the road, what could you have done differently? What would you have done differently?
Oh man, that's a really good question. What would I have done differently? I'm gonna say now, I don't know if I would have done anything differently. Although I know when I'm in the shower or when I'm about to fall asleep, I'm gonna think of it and think,
No,
shit,
yeah,
I should have said that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there would have been another way to approach it really. I mean, I just had to stick it out and I think I did the best that I could with the circumstances, or under those circumstances, let's say. So yeah, I don't have any regrets about the way in which I did anything. So
I think that's the way to look at it. And I suppose the other side of it is it was tough, but it was an adventure as well. It's
absolutely.
something you can't buy with money in a way.
No.
I always say it's these experiences that make us what we are. And so for me, that's critical.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably you hit the nail on the head there. Really, it's a lot of struggling and a lot of uncertainty, but in that time, it teaches you a lot about yourself and a lot about the world and all of these things. So you could, like you said, you can't buy that experience with money. You just
Absolutely.
really can't.
And just talk to us a little bit about life in Amsterdam. Is it all stroopwafels and what do they?
And pulpits.
and what's it? Don't they eat fish as well? What's it? Herring?
Yeah, the raw herring with onions on it, and no, the food culture here. Let me tell you, is you go to a supermarket here, and the meat section is like 1, maybe 2 meters wide. 2 meters if you're lucky, if you go to a big one. In South Africa, you go to any Pick and Pay or whatever it is, the meat section is it's like a whole bloody section of the thing. So they don't know, they don't know food culture here. But life in Amsterdam is, it's a good life, I must say. I mean, things are bloody expensive, but they are, and the cost of living is expensive everywhere, really. You can take your bicycle everywhere. There's not a single place where you can't ride a bike. So that kind of freedom is really great. Public transport works. You have a metro system and all of that. So I live a little bit outside of Amsterdam. So I live close to the forest. I have that literally right here. So I have I'm lucky enough to have nature and then the city as well. But I don't venture too often into the center of Amsterdam because it's really just a tourist destination. It's So there is life outside of that that kind of thing. But
and just in friendships, do you have a lot of South African friends? Have you made Dutch friends? What's that been like?
Yeah, I have some South African friends from my time in Rotterdam, and most of the friendships that I have made have been with colleagues from previous companies, mostly international. I think that is probably one of the hardest things about living in the Netherlands is that while the Dutch are friendly people, they're very they keep their friend groups firstly separated, but also they have the same friends from primary school to high school to university, and if you aren't a native Dutch speaker, then it also becomes really difficult to get into that. So you do have some Dutch people who are more international minded and very curious about having international friends, but making friends is a very hard thing. So luckily I have some South African friends. We get to watch rugby and, have a couple beers every now and again, maybe a braai. But I must say there are a lot of South Africans in Amsterdam and in the Netherlands in general. I feel like it's growing every single day.
I believe so. I hear from my kids, the CAs and engineers and IT people. They're just welcomed with open arms because I don't know your opinion. South Africans are hardworking, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they're loved by the employers. Is that your experience as well?
That is absolutely. I see a very clear, difference. South Africans are generally more hardworking and just more, I guess, grateful in a way to have the opportunity to be working for whatever company it is, but and to be able to live here as well. So I definitely do see that, for sure.
And just working in a company, corporate environment, how different is that to what you would have had in South Africa? Or can't you
Completely
really say?
different.
Is
Yeah,
it?
I completely different. I must say I don't have corporate experience in South Africa. My whole plan when I was in my 20s was to work for myself. I did some work here and there for some companies, but I think overall the corporate culture here is quite relaxed. When it's 5 o'clock, and the Dutch, they kind of have this mentality that I'm not paid for a minute after 5 o'clock, so why should I be here? I'm going to head home, which they have a really good work-life balance. And I think South Africa is a bit more like the UK in that we want to really please our employers. And here, employers aren't really used to that. So, if you kind of show a bit more commitment and a bit more, drive, they really appreciate that. So tough to compare between SA, but I know for sure the culture within corporations are certainly a bit different.
Sure. And obviously, it's a question that comes in every conversation: safety and security. You feel completely safe? Ever feel threatened?
No, never. I have quite some funny stories of when we first moved, and we had dogs and cats, and we would leave the door open, which is not something we would necessarily do back home, but it was the safest area I could ever imagine. I mean, honestly, just no crime happened in that area. And we had, really like a grumpy old man ring our bell and say, you leave your door open. And we said, yeah. So it really, there's no, the kind of, I don't, walk around the street with my hands in my pockets or anything like that. I kind of forget about that. So I feel completely safe. They just, Europeans don't really know what overt crime is. Everything is kind of hidden and underground. Of course, you might see a drug dealer here or there, but when I'm talking about like hijacking or breaking into your house, for example, that kind of stuff just doesn't really happen.
Yeah, and even if it hasn't happened to you or it has, it's my sense in 6 years, I've never once felt threatened in any way. Other than a bad driver, making me nervous on my bike. But other than that, you never feel physically threatened.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, maybe it's just a European, obviously, coming from South Africa, we have a different perspective on it. But and we still talk about it every day. When I see a lady on a bike on her own or a woman running on her own, you almost, it's still strange for us, but I think that's part of the benefit of living here, living in Europe. So it's amazing.
No, absolutely.
And a question, you're a relatively young guy. Do you think the 6 years living in Holland has changed you professionally and personally?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I think it's given me opportunities and just a view of the world that I don't think I would have ever gotten if I had stayed in South Africa. It's yeah, again, it's more about the opportunities, I think, that are just, once you can settle here, really, yeah, the world becomes your oyster, honestly. And I see more possibilities for a future here. Sadly, I'll say, but yeah, it's definitely changed me. But one thing that it hasn't done is changed my proudly South African thing.
Absolutely.
That will never die. I mean, I think I annoy some people because I will hear an accent and it sticks out a lot more the longer you've been away. So when I hear it or I see someone wearing a K-Way jacket, I will go up to them and start speaking to them. And sometimes they appreciate it and other times they don't. But I just have that, as a South African, I have that deep, deep connection to our country. And even though I want to live here, have a future here, I don't think that's ever going to change.
Yeah, I think we're all the same. I get quite annoyed when people slag off South Africa when they live abroad. I think that's wrong because
Yeah,
it's
I
still a
agree.
country. People may have pissed you off, but I mean, ultimately, it's about the country that's there and gave you what you have today. So I
Yeah,
think that's
exactly.
amazing. Uh, just you talked about what living here does for you, but in terms of culture and seeing different cultures, and you're close to Belgium and France and all the other places. Have
Yeah.
you been able to travel around a bit?
I have, yeah. I mean, I will be honest, I don't have that travel bug. Some people really get antsy and they want to go for a weekend to Spain or there. I mean, I still kind of I'm still curious. I want to see those places, but I don't, and maybe it's just been the situation of the uncertainty over the time where I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but I don't really have that kind of urge. I think every time I think of going somewhere, I think, I'd rather save this money and go see my family in SA. So yeah, it's and some people would be horrified to hear me say that because they're like, oh, you in the center of Europe, you have everything around you. But yeah, hey, I've been to Italy, I've been to Germany, I've been to Belgium, been to France. And I haven't been to Portugal yet, so
Wisconsin.
yeah, and absolutely, but
Lekker, yeah. This is where we are. It's like Cape Town.
yeah,
But yeah, but again, it's a personal choice. The more I deal with this podcast, the more I say I can't judge anybody for the decisions that they make, and please don't judge me. But I think it's a personal thing. So for me, I think you're doing the right thing. Um, I got kind of sort of getting towards the end, but two questions. The one is, who would you say as a youngster person, sort of in their 20s, is a guy that or a person that Holland would be good for? Typically, would it be a guy who's professional? What does Holland suit from a personal perspective? Do you think?
yeah, I definitely think it suits a more professional kind of person. I think if you want to come here for music or the creative things, I think it's still possible, but I think you'll have a hard time getting a head start. I think this kind of place is suited for, like you mentioned, those the CAs and the IT professionals and whatnot. Um, Someone who's you're willing to work hard, and I think once you kind of have that safety net of a really good job, you can really make a good life for yourself. So if you have some sort of drive to be a professional of any kind, really, even if it's a plumber for that matter, they really short on those kind of jobs as well, not just an office job. So someone who's entrepreneurial minded and um, willing to put in the effort. I think that's the kind of person and you know, it's and of any race and any skin color. You know, it doesn't that's not the, you know, not the not the thing really, because I think that's also something that has struck me, is that the, you know, everywhere has some kind of racism, but I think when I went back to South Africa, you know, a couple of times, it strikes you a bit more than when you've been living there. You kind of desensitized by it, but it is quite. And then when you have Dutch people or Europeans who tell me about their trips to South Africa, they say, "Oh, but we go to restaurants and all the people eating there are white, but all the people serving and in the kitchen aren't." And yeah, I think that's you know, if you want to kind of get away from that kind of, from any stereotype, I think that's also quite a good place to come to.
Oh, awesome. And if you have to advise a young guy or young girl in, you know, today just finished varsity, what would you say? Take a chance and go, or rather stay in South Africa?
I would say get some experience first in South Africa. See what it's like. Then you have something to compare it to. And then, you know, after a couple of years experience in SA, I'd say take a chance. You have nothing to lose. I mean, sure, you might have some financial things, but, you know, like we discussed just now, it's kind of one of those things where it will teach you so much about who you are and what you want from life. It will teach you if you really want to go back to South Africa, or if you want to stay abroad. So, you know, the experience part is maybe not mandatory, but, you know, take a chance and see, because like I mentioned, I used to judge people, I guess, based on, I don't know what, but you know, whatever it was, but for immigrating and saying, you know, how could you do that? And we have such a, you know, let's rather build South Africa up instead of moving elsewhere. But, yeah, that's changed dramatically.
Okay. So you don't see yourself going back?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay.
You know, it's, I just don't see a progression. I see a very slow progression. I just don't see it moving in the direction where everyone can have a really good life. So the things like safety and the things that really used to get me down were the amount of times you just go out and you know, people are begging, and I carried that burden quite a lot. And I didn't realize that until I got here, and you don't have that anymore, how much I carried. So, yeah, it's, unfortunately, I don't see it, but you know, you never know where the world,
Oh, absolutely. But last question, what do you miss most about South Africa?
Oh, my family, for sure. My family. Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing. And listening to a few of the chats that you've had, in some of the guests in your podcast, I think that seems to be, the big thing. So yeah, besides for that, I miss Brian. I don't know. Yeah, it's one of the world's greatest pleasures that I don't get to experience as often as I did.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, crazy times. But I don't know why I have the urge to just tell a little one of my best experiences in Europe, which was 2023. Went with a few of my mates 2 days before the semi-final of the World Cup. We took a drive down to France. We got tickets to the semi-final, and that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. One of the best nights I've ever had, because firstly, to be in Paris and have all these South Africans around you was a feeling I just can't describe. And then, you know, winning the game and sitting amongst, of course, there were some British supporters around us giving us a bit of a go as well, but there were some South Africans in our area who never met them before, probably will never meet them ever again. But in that moment when we won, you just have this moment together, and yeah, and then afterwards outside the stadium, everyone stays, and it wasn't the final, but it felt like it, and yeah, that was just one of the greatest experiences. So
one more thing before I let you go. If you need South African documents sorted from wherever you are in the world, Apostille handles the whole process for you. Click on the link in the description below. What a note to finish on. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to Winning the Away Game podcast with Justinus and Flip van der Merwe.
No, I haven't.
Oh, my word. They
I'll
talk to rugby players and businessmen in South Africa, and
Yeah.
those guys are rugby mad. So
Yeah.
worth a listen.
Yeah, no, we'll do.
Thank you so much, Justin. Wow, what a lekker chat. I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you for being
Thanks,
open and sharing. And I'm going to look for your songs on Spotify.
Yeah.
So
Great. Thanks so much.
Well done. And thank you very much. And good luck in the Netherlands.
Thank you, man. And I will let you know for sure when I come to Portugal. And maybe we can have a braai or something like that.
Absolutely. We braai a lot.
Great. No, thanks a lot, Jan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Justin. And to our listeners, if the episode resonated with you, please consider sharing it with someone who might enjoy the conversation. You can find more episodes of The Relocated South African on your favorite podcast platform, or visit our website, therelocatedSouthAfrican.com. Thank you for listening, and see you next time.
This episode is brought to you by Sable International, building futures beyond borders.